Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cinema Rolls. I'm Santiago, and today we'll be talking about the best and the worst movies that come out of the month of June, starting with the worst. And before I begin, I should say that this is just my opinion. If you love any of these movies that I think that are like the worst movies to come out of this month, or if you hate the movies that I think that are the best movies that come out of this month, then that's your opinion. So, and you are entitled to it. So, but just to say again, this is just my opinion. Alright, starting with Central Intelligence. I did not like this movie. I had some laughs in this movie. I had giggles throughout, but I didn't think the story was all that great. It was very bland. You kind of knew where it was going to go. It was and this movie started out as a 5 for me, all the way through until the end, where it just got really weird and really awkward, and I was just like, what is going on here? So I didn't think this was a good movie. Some people liked it. I saw many people on Twitter who really enjoyed this movie, and that's okay. But for me personally, I didn't think it was all that great. So next is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows, and this movie, like the last one, was badly written. I had some fun with it. The chase sequences were pretty cool, but other than that, the movie was lackluster. I didn't find the villain to be all that exciting. It kind of felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon special than an actual film. And I wanted to like this movie because I liked the first Ninja Turtles movie that came out in 2014. I just didn't think that this film brought anything that I would enjoy. I think that young kids will enjoy this movie a lot, but for me personally, I did not think that this was a good movie. And if you saw my Twitter post, I gave this a 5.1 out of 10. Next up is the Independence Day sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. Now, most people hated this movie. Even some might say that this was the worst movie of the year so far, and I don't know if I would say that. It's definitely not a good movie. I walked in this movie thinking, okay, this movie's gonna suck because of all the negative reaction that I saw from it. So when the movie started, I just was waiting for it to suck, and for me, it never really got to that. Is it a good movie? No. Is it a bad movie? Yeah, no, not really. I didn't think so. There isn't really anything here to enjoy. The new characters are very bland. You don't really even care for the old characters, which is very upsetting. Even Bill Pullman, who gave that awesome speech in the first movie, had this pseudo moment kind of like that, and it just fell flat. You didn't care at all. Okay, Free State of Jones. Now, I was very disappointed in this movie. I wanted a good, because the trailer was enough for me to like, oh, this looks like a really interesting story that needs to be told. I've never heard of this county going up against rebelling against the Confederacy. I think this sounds amazing. Now, if you saw what I posted on Twitter, I said that this movie had a solid beginning and sloppy ending. It didn't know how to end. It introduces this subplot midway through the movie, a little bit in the beginning, but midway that you're just like, what is going on here? Why are we here? And then it ends with that subplot, and you're just like, what's going on? That's it? That's how it ends? And yeah, I was very looking forward to this movie, but it didn't really do much for me. I just wanted it to end. Alright, let's start to get into the good movies now. Me Before You. I didn't think that this movie was all that great still, but I was able to enjoy what it had to offer. And it's very cliched. You kind of knew how it was gonna go, and I called the ending halfway through the movie, and I was right. Me Before You is a movie that I wouldn't recommend, but granted, I am not the targeted demographic for this type of film. Alright, next up is Warcraft. I really liked this movie. I thought this was going to be a lackluster film, but I found myself enjoying this quite a bit, actually. I didn't think it was too good or too bad. I thought the ending was just like, oh, okay, well, they're setting up for sequels. So, I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was a great fantasy movie. We haven't had those in a while, except for I think the last Hobbit movie was in December of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought this movie was really good. I really liked it. It's the first video game movie that I thought, okay, this can be done. You can make a good video game movie, because if most of you who don't know, video game movies usually suck. They aren't really interesting at all. So I liked this movie a lot more than I thought I would. Next up is Now You See Me Too. Now, my girlfriend really loved this movie. I found myself really enjoying it. I really liked the scene where they're getting patted down and they're tossing this card around so they don't get caught with this. It's in the movie. You'll see what I mean. Some of the things obviously were very unplausible and stuff, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was a great time. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10, and I really enjoyed this movie. Some people didn't. I can understand why. It's a movie that you just like, what? That can't happen. What? This movie's completely stupid and doesn't know a thing about physics or anything or logic, which is okay. I mean, I don't care, but I enjoy this movie a lot. Alright, next up is The Shallows, and just like Now You See Me Too, I really liked it. I thought it was very intensified. It starts off a little slow. You're just like, okay, let's get to the shark attack. Let's get this thing going. But I really like this movie. I thought Blake Lively did a good job. I knew, you kind of know how it's gonna end, but I didn't. I thought it was, like I said, it felt like a ride of emotions and thought. So I end up enjoying this movie a lot. Okay, next to the last is probably one of the best movies of this month. Not as good as my first one, but it's still a really good movie, and that is Finding Dory. I really like this movie. I thought this had a lot of charm. It tugs at your heartstring just a bit, but not like other Pixar films where it just rips out your heart and shows it to you. So I thought this was a fun movie. I laughed a pretty good amount of times during this movie. I didn't expect that in Finding Dory. I didn't know if you could make a movie about a supporting character, and they can do that, and they did do it. So I really liked this movie. Alright, for my favorite movie of the month of June is The Conjuring 2. I found this film very scary. Like the painting scene alone, for those of you who've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about, with the nun, is worth the price of admission. I was freaked out. I was just like, oh, what is this? What's going on? And it had me on the edge of my seat. I really enjoyed The Conjuring, and it is my pick for the best movie of June. Hope you guys like this video. Like this video if you did, and hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Alright, see you guys next week.